Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. It's another Wednesday, so you know what that means. Another AEW Dynamite. We're doing New Year's Bash Night 2. How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good, pretty good. Another night, another dynamite.
Yeah, and how did you like another night, another Dynamite tonight?
It was good. It was a good one, especially the main event. We'll get into that. There
We
was
already given away the match of the night,
there was a lot of no, I wouldn't say that.
the
There was
NWA
a lot of
title match.
highlights. There was a lot of highlights. I especially like the waiting room.
Yeah, we'll get into that. We'll get into that.
It was a good dynamite. It was a good bookend to last week's
Yeah,
New
yeah.
Year's smash.
Both
Yeah.
New Year's bashes were very good. I thought last week's was better. But that's not
Mm.
to discount tonight's episode. Tonight's show was also very good. It's one of those A and 1A kind of thing. Both were very good shows, but let's start it up. So we got AEW Dynamite, New Year Bash Night 2, January 13th, 2021, and we start off with Pac versus Eddie Kingston out with the boys, obviously. And so the match starts. I kind of missed the beginning of this match. Was there anything that really stood out in the beginning? So we always talk about this, but for some reason, yes, wherever we live, just on Wednesdays, our cable decides to screw up. It's true. We're not making it up. Just on Wednesdays, when it's time for AEW, the cable just goes out. So I missed the first 5 minutes of this show.
Yeah. So there was a video package detailing the issues that Eddie and the boys have had with Pac. So that was probably the first minute or two of what happened. And Pac came out, guns blazing. He did a drop kick on Kingston. Kingston made it out of the ring, and then he immediately did a flipping somersault onto Kingston on the outside. And it was pretty much Pac the whole first 5 minutes, just laying into Kingston the whole way through.
Okay.
And then I know you said you came in around the time
I came in. The first
yeah.
thing when my cable finally came back in was the bunny screaming.
So that was
something.
right
I
around
don't
the
know.
time that Kingston started turning it around.
They were on the outside and the bunny was screaming. I don't know, for what.
Yeah, up until that point, before Kingston kind of got a second wind, he was just taking shots from Pac left and right.
Okay.
Being tossed aside. Yeah.
So one of the big moves of the match was a big superplex from Pac onto Kingston. That was nice. And I don't know if you noticed, but pretty much at least from when I jumped in, Pac's chest completely red. Looked like a giant slab of raw steak.
Oh, it looked like somebody took a cheese grater to him. It was bad. I was like, holy God.
But they kind of go back and forth, and then Pac just knocks him down and drags him over to the turnbuckle, goes up top and hits the Black Arrow and wins. That was kind of like, oh, he just won. Okay. It's kind of a definitive win for Pac. It was like the Lucha Brothers nor the B&Bs really interfered. I didn't see any interference unless I missed it in the first couple minutes. But yeah, it was pretty much he just beat him. Then that was it. There
was one part of interference where Brandy kind of scratched Pac. I don't know if that's what you saw.
The bunny?
Oh, not Brandy. I'm sorry. The bunny scratched Pac on the outside. But that was about it. There was really nothing else, I guess. Nothing that you missed and nothing that we saw beyond that. Okay. So yeah, it was a pretty clean win.
Nice. Yeah, I there's nothing wrong with it, but normally when you watch wrestling, you usually see some kind of
shenanigans.
Not necessarily shenanigans, but some kind of he almost Eddie Kingston didn't miss the backhand and then Pac set him up. It's usually you try your finisher and we reverse and we go back and forth and then somebody eventually hits a big move and then hits their finisher. But it's just nope, Pac just knocked him down, took him to the corner, did his move, and that was it. So I kind of like it though. I kind of like that it's a breath of fresh air. Do you have anything else you want to talk about this match?
No, it was a good opener. It was kind of over quick, like you said. I expected it to be, I don't know, a little longer, maybe, considering the build-up.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good match. It was a good, clean finish, but I expected Pac to win. I just didn't expect it to happen so quickly.
Yeah, I didn't. I thought Pac would win. I thought it would be through some kind of like B&B trying to interfere and the Lucha Brothers get involved and there's some big schmaz and then finally Pac gets a win or something. Yeah. So I guess they're still gonna keep going because after the match, Lance Archer hits the ring and he runs off Eddie and the boys, and then Pac and Lance stare each other down, and Lance tells Pac to get on the same page, and it was like, I guess they're in an alliance? Maybe?
I didn't get that at all.
I don't know.
I don't know what that was.
Like, I know they both don't like Eddie Kingston, but I didn't realize they were going to form some kind of alliance. And it's like, why do they need an alliance when Pac just beat him? He just beat him already.
I didn't get that get on the same page. Like, what? I mean, was Lance like coaching them before the match? Like, hey, here's what you need to do, and don't screw up. This is the plan.
Yeah.
You know, what was the plan? I don't know. I mean, it's weird. Unless there was something that we missed in Dark or something. I don't know. Like you said, what's to get the same page? So
I guess
we'll see where this goes. Yeah,
I don't know.
Kind of triple threat, you think?
I have no idea. Anyway, the lineup for tonight, we've got the TNT Championship on the line, Darby Allin versus Brian Cage. We've got the NWA Women's Championship on the line, Serena Deeb versus Ty Conti. The Elite is in action. Jurassic Express is taking on FTR. We've got the waiting room with host Britt Baker, and her guest is going to be Cody. The Inner Circle talks about their New Year's resolutions, and Chuck Taylor versus Miro is up next. I guess the only stipulation is if Chuck loses, he becomes Miro's young boy. Wasn't it young boy last week?
Yeah, last week, but now they keep calling him the Butler.
The Butler. So yeah. Anyway, was that the first instance where they said he's gonna be the Butler?
Today was, they didn't say that last week.
No, I mean like right at this point in the show. Like, because I don't remember them saying anything about being the Butler until after the match.
No, they said it before the match.
Okay.
They did. But they were mentioning it because when Chuck was coming out, it's like if Chuck loses, he's gonna be Miro's Butler.
Well, one thing I was kind of scratching my head over is like, well, what is in this for Chuck? What if
he didn't lay down any stipulation?
Yeah,
which is weird.
He should get a reward too, right? If
it was kind of odd. Like he didn't. I don't know. He didn't like have any comeback to what Miro was saying that you're gonna be my young boy if you lose, and Chuck didn't say anything like, okay, well, you're gonna be my young boy if you lose. You know, like that would make
something
more sense,
like that, right?
Yeah, but he's just like, okay, whatever. It's like, who makes those kind of bets? You know, I would make that bet with that guy every day.
You get nothing if you win, and you lose everything if you lose, right?
Awesome. Yeah. Sign me up.
So they come out. Orange hits the lame fist bump on Billy. I don't know why they showed that, but okay. So this really should have been a one-sided match where Miro just destroys Chuck, but Chuck was in control for the beginning of this match, and then there was this really damn spot where Kip drop kicks Orange on the outside, and Chuck is standing on the apron, and he just mule kicks Kip right in the face. And I was just like, oh my god, he probably took out some teeth with that kick.
That was a pretty hard kick.
That was a super hard kick.
That looked legit. Like he really kicked the shit out of him.
Yeah. But anyway, that's enough distraction for Miro to take control, and this is where the match really begins. He does he tosses Chuck. He does a huge wind-up, hits the Machka kick. Then he hits a stomp. Game over. And Chuck taps. So Excalibur says Chuck has to be Miro's Butler. So I guess this is Seinfeld now.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So are they gonna have a show next week where I don't know, Penelope is trying to get Chuck to do chores for her, and Miro's like, hey, you can't tell him. And he's like, why not? It's like, because he's my butler. Laugh track. No?
That'd be pretty funny.
Yeah.
That should totally be a segment for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. Anything you wanted to say about the match itself, though?
I'm glad they didn't make it a complete squash.
Really?
I didn't think there was any shot in hell that Chuck was going to win this match. I would have been shocked. But at the same time, they didn't make it where it was a complete, stomp. At least he had a shot. At least he came out, he realized what was at stake. He came out guns a-blazing, and he gave everything he had to Miro. It was really the turning point when he attacked Kip that he lost it. Not that like I said, he was going to win it, but it was a good match. It was a good match for what it was, the build-up.
Yeah.
It looks like they're building something with Miro and OC, though. Maybe? I don't know. Does that look that way to you?
I don't know.
Because they were kind of staring each other down at the end, right? I don't know.
I wouldn't. I don't know if they're doing this, but I would be quite pleased if this was the point where Orange just breaks away from the best friends completely.
Mm.
I don't know if that's what they're gonna do, but I think that would be cool. Anyway, we've got Matt Hardy in the back with Private Party, and they sign under. They're glad to be a part of the Matt Hardy brand, and they're getting better. And they're saying, you know what? I can't pretend. Something about the 30% from the third-party platforms, and Matt says, it was in the fine print. This is a lesson for you to read the fine print, and this is pretty much another shot at WWE. And they call him a money-grabbing carny, and this is another shot at WWE. Matt Hardy says he's the only person that cares about him, and nobody cares, and he learned this on September 20, 2020. I guess that's when
All Out. That's when he lost to. I'm sorry. That's when he got.
That's when he got his head cracked open by Sammy in that really dangerous match that they did, and I was like, man, he only learned this lesson in 2020. Like, I've been watching Matt Hardy since like '95. It's like, dude, you should have learned this lesson earlier. But okay, whatever. Any thoughts on this?
Not really. I mean, I kind of like that they're speeding through this storyline, I guess you could say, because I didn't really like where this was going to begin with. So we'll see. Hopefully, it reaches some kind of conclusion very soon. But I have to admit, what Matt said was actually sympathetic. I felt for him when he said that to the Private Party to them about how nobody cares about you. Look what happened to me in September when I got hurt. Nobody gives a shit about you. And
a lot of people cared about him, though.
I know, but it was one of those things where I felt more sympathetic when he made that remark in the context of everything.
That does make sense. I really don't know what they're going with him, because Matt Hardy is a completely different character now, and Private Party is dumb. Who the hell signs over 30% of your money over to a manager? They were already signed to AEW. What?
Yeah, that's true.
What have they gotten from Matt Hardy that they weren't already getting?
That's true. Yeah, it's not like they're booked in the main event or anything, because then they could make an argument like, hey, you booked in the main event this week because of me.
We've got a tag team title shot against the Young Bucks next week or something, right?
That would have made more sense. Because then they could,
It's like, hey, why don't you give me 30% of your money? Okay, fine, right? I don't know. Anyway, Judas hits, and we do the sing along, and that sing along does not get old for some reason. I don't know why. It's awesome every time. So Jericho says, what are the New Year's resolutions? And Hager says, championship. And MJF says, continue making bonds with all these men in the inner circle. And I don't know about you, but fat people got to go. And they all agree. So it's like, okay. And Ortiz says he's going to perfect some recipe for some kind of food. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar. I don't want to butcher the pronunciation anyway. So if you really want to know what dish it is, then go back and watch it. You should go back and watch this anyway, because this was a great segment. Jericho says him and MJF are going to win the tag team championships. And Santana says, hey, yo, whoa, hold up, man. Me and Ortiz are supposed to be the tag team of the inner circle. And Sammy, standing up for himself, calls out Jericho. He calls Jericho a tag team slut because he used to tag with him as Les Sex Gods, and then he started tagging with Hager. And last week he was dabbing it up with Snoop Dogg. Are you going to team up with him? And Jericho just says, maybe. So they start jaw-jacking, and Jericho finally proposes a 3-way match to determine the official tag team of the inner circle. Going to be him and MJF versus Santana and Ortiz and Sammy Hager. And Jericho says, Sammy Hager? And Sammy says, why is that funny? So yeah, the Inner Circle, always spectacular, always great, always a highlight. Never a dull moment with them. What do you
Yeah.
want? Anything you got to add on this one?
No, it was
Anything?
perfect. They
Anything you
did a great
noticed?
job. I nothing I really noticed. You can definitely see this the seeds being planted for dissension among the ranks, though. You know, it's the first time I've really seen Santana really kind of raise issue with something Jericho said, because he was one of the ones that backed
He was
Jericho when
kind
he
of
was talking about
backed MJF and backed Jericho.
yeah,
Yeah.
bringing MJF in,
And
right?
then
This was the first time it's like, hey man, you brought us in to be the tag team of Inner Circle, and now you know you're turning your back on that, and you guys are the tag team of the Inner Circle. What's up with that? So interesting,
Jericho.
yeah.
Hager and Wardlow are no longer staring at each other.
Which
So,
was a surprise. Yeah,
I guess
which is good. I guess
after their match last week, it's like
under the rug. Yeah.
So up next we've got Alex Marvez. He's in the back with the Dark Order, and he says, they talk about the passing of John Huber recently, Brody Lee, and Uno says, everything we do from now on is going to be in his honor. And next week they team up with Hangman, and they introduce Hangman, and they say, we're going to interview you now, Hangman. And John Silver freaks out. He says, I love you so much. And then Reynolds says, hey, like, never mind. He's blah, blah, blah. He's all excited. He's still nervous around you. And he asks Hangman, well, when are you going to join the Inner Circle? And Hangman says, do you want me to join the Dark Order? Oh, I said Inner Circle, but Reynolds says, like, when are you going to join the Dark Order? And Hangman says, do you want me to join the Dark Order? And then no, they didn't do that. But Hangman says, you know what? I'll give you my answer next week after the match. And Dark Order kind of celebrates because they're thinking Hangman is gonna join.
Be a shoe-in.
Yeah. So what do you think of this one?
It was good. It's good that they're building the Inner Circle to. I'm sorry, fuck. I even said it. It's good that they're building the Dark Order to be something, even without Brody Lee around. They're still continuing this storyline. I think they can carry themselves as a faction even without him. As unfortunate as that is, they have a good structure and. Whatever that may be, whatever storyline they're going down, I think it'll be good.
Yeah, I thought this was weird though, because the Dark Order is obviously going to be a fan favorite, good guy, face
faction. Yeah,
the guys that people cheer no matter what. So now, if Hangman doesn't join, doesn't that make him kind of a dick?
Kind of a bad guy. Yeah, you're right. That's true.
So they're kind of putting Hangman in a tough spot here. Maybe he will join the Dark Order. But I think Hangman's destiny is to be the one who finally beats Kenny for this AEW
Actually,
championship.
I didn't think of that. That's true though, because is he gonna win? Like, let's say he does go up against Kenny 6 months down the line, 9 months down the line. Is he gonna do it as a member of Dark Order? That would be kind of weird.
I don't think he would.
Yeah, that would be odd. Huh? Yeah, it's weird. So they do kind of put him in an odd position. Because then is he gonna turn his back on the Dark Order if he joins them? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So, we'll see. But then we've got a video package of Brian Cage versus Darby Allin, and this was awesome. They really took it back all the way from before Brian Cage even entered AEW, and Taz was trying to give advice to Darby and trying to mentor Darby, and Darby was kind of like, F you, dude. And then that's when Taz brought in Brian Cage and all their interactions and all their beef, so to speak, all the way up until the present time when Sting showed up in AEW. So this was great. This is another thing that should go out of your way to watch before the title match, which is coming up. I don't really think you need to recap it because
no, it was perfect. It was a perfect build-up. AEW does this really well. If they give enough time to these things, they do it so well. They knock it out of the park, and it was just a perfect build to this match.
So the Elite is with Dasha. The Elite is back, and the Don Callis says, tells the Young Bucks, well, you're the tag team champs. You should get your own entrance. We'll just go out there first. It's like, oh, okay. So in a bit of foreshadowing, they didn't announce Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. They just said the Elite is back. So right now you're getting kind of like what's going on here? What's going on? And we know Don Callis is always up to no good. So we've got Kenny's entrance, and I wrote down most of it today. He's been the AEW champion for 42 days. Is that right?
42 days.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, it was in early December. I can't believe it too.
It feels like it feels like last week. Almost. It doesn't
by.
feel like over a month. He says
Yeah.
he's on his 14th straight win. He's got more wins than anybody else in AEW. He's got 36 wins. He hasn't teamed up with the Elite in 144 days. He's going to be the first AEW wrestler to be on an Impact pay-per-view, and he's a hero to many in North Carolina, but he's a legend to his people in his hometown of Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. So after the entrance, Don Callis gets on the mic. He says the band is back together, and we already know where this is going, except for the only three people who don't know are JR, Excalibur, and Tony Schiavone. But we know what's going to happen. He introduces Kenny's tag team partners, the tag team champs,
Team World Champions,
and his two best friends in the world, the Good Brothers. And out come Gallows and Anderson, to the shock of no one except Excalibur, JR, and Tony Schiavone.
And the Young Bucks.
And the Young Bucks. And Tony Khan, who just so happened they have a camera on them, and they're looking all pissed off in the back. And Dasha was with them too, right?
True. Yeah.
So, the match is going to be Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers versus the Varsity Blondes and Danny Limelight, who I had no idea who he was, and they didn't mention his name was Danny Limelight until he was already getting his ass kicked.
They actually did a lot with him.
They did do a lot with him,
showcasing him.
Yeah,
he's pretty good. He's pretty good.
He's he's not bad at all. But I was like, who is this other guy? And then it's like, oh, they're beating him. Oh, that's Danny Limelight. And then Gallows hit that big boot on him. That oh my god, that was so awesome. So
brutal.
So in the beginning, the Elite get the advantage on Danny Limelight. They mention, and so the announcers are playing up the idea that Kenny is being controlled and manipulated by Don Callis. They mention that Kenny Omega is doing most of the work in this match, and they're saying, this is all Callis's plan. He's using Kenny Omega and all that. But this was a all action, more of a showcase for Kenny and the Good Brothers, but there was a little bit of offense by the Varsity Blondes and Limelight, like you said, especially Limelight. But eventually the Good Brothers hit Magic Killer on Mr. Limelight, and they get the win. So, thoughts on the match?
It was a good match, action-wise. I mean, start to finish, it was pretty much non-stop. And
so it was like total non-stop action?
Yeah, something like that. There was a lot of impact, if I'm really being honest to it. Yeah.
Okay.
But, it wasn't a squash, which I'm glad it wasn't. I understand why they have that a lot of times to prove, that the better, bigger star is
is superior.
Who we thought they were.
Yeah.
But this was a good match for what it was. And
I noticed you got a new feller in the back there. He's got he's the guy. He's got like white hair.
Oh, that's the same guy from last week.
Oh, he was there last week?
Yeah.
I didn't notice him last week, which is odd because he stands out a lot. Who the hell is that?
That's a character from My Hero Academia. He's a bad guy. Villain. His name is Nine.
Okay. Is that like a Funko style thing, or is that how he actually looks? No, not that one. The one in front.
This guy? Oh no, this is. Oh no, this is silver. This is
I said white.
Not white.
Okay, well it looks white on camera.
No, that's just Minecraft Steve.
Oh, I see. Who is that? Is he like the hero or something?
Oh, you really don't know anything about Minecraft, huh? That's the main
character.
No,
I don't. You have no like theme or cohesion between that setup back there.
No. I mean, and I know you hate that. So
no, I don't hate that. It's just like I don't get it. Like, I mean,
it's just random stuff that I wanted to put in the background.
Move it a little bit over. You've got Optimus. You've got is that Black Panther?
Yeah.
You've got Godzilla, who's shorter than Optimus Prime. Also, Cobra Commander and The Rock, and I guess All Might.
War Machine.
Whereas, how can you compete that with?
Yeah.
The Stegosaurus.
Very easily. I mean, it's not even really a contest. The Stegosaurus is
awesome.
Hot garbage.
It
worst dinosaur ever, but
dude. Anyway, back.
Dinosaurs.
Back to the what?
Nothing.
Back to AEW. John Moxley's music plays, and he walks to the ring, and we're like, is he just gonna go in and fight all three of them by himself?
That's exactly what he's gonna do.
Yeah, he is. He goes in into the ring and fights all three of them. And in the beginning, he was kind of winning for a few seconds, but it's 3-on-1, so not even John Moxley. Maybe if
not even Marlon Sims could take on 3-on-1.
Yeah, not even Marlon Sims. Remember, this is John Moxley, not John Cena, so he can't take 3-on-1. And so who should come out to make the save but the Lucha Brothers without Pac come in and fight the... So at this point I thought, okay, well, this is going to set up the Lucha Brothers versus Gallows and Anderson down the road.
That's what I thought too. Yeah.
But as we'll see, maybe not so. So the Lucha Brothers are fighting Gallows and Anderson. Mox and Omega is brawling in the ring, and then the extras, I guess, or the
extras. That's a good way to put it.
Maybe the AEW young boys come out. I don't know who most of them are. They weren't identified, so they come out and they pull them apart. They do their best to pull them apart, but Mox just nonchalantly gives one of them the paradigm shift. And then he hits a dive and throws Kenny back in the ring. And he jumps back into the ring to beat up Kenny Omega, but then the Young Bucks come out and get in between, and they don't attack Moxley, but they're like, okay, stop, this is enough, let's not do this, blah blah blah. And they turn around and get a double super kick from the Lucha Brothers. And then everybody else is kung fu fighting again, and then Don Callis and Kenny Omega head to the back because they're the smartest people in AEW. Like, hey, you know what? I'm not gonna get into this fight.
Let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah. Anything you want to add to this brawl? Did you notice anything good? I mean, there was a lot of stuff. There was a lot of people fighting. I don't know. Did you see anything?
There was a lot to unpack.
Interesting.
There was nothing. Well, other than what you mentioned, like there was nothing that really stood out to me beyond that. But I was surprised that the Luchas were the one who made the save, and I had the same impression you did that they were going to be setting up something with the Good Brothers.
Yeah.
Until they ended up super kicking the Young Bucks, so I'm confused. I don't know where they're going with this.
I mean, yeah, I guess there's no reason why they can't just fight both Gallows and Anderson. But I did think it was kind of weird that they didn't come out with Pac. But I guess if they did, then they would be the numbers game would be in favor of Moxley and the Death Triangle. So I guess maybe that's why Pac didn't come out, or maybe he was in the showers or getting treatment after his match with Eddie Kingston. Who the hell knows? But I mean, it's not something to nitpick and get pissy over. But I was just like, oh, why aren't they out with Pac? Anyway, up next we've got the waiting room with Dr. Britt Baker, and Reba announces her. And this was so good. I kind of want to go back to watch all of them on AEW Dark to see if they're all like this, because this is so good. Britt comes out and she tells the audience, oh, I have a surprise for everyone under their seats. They show the audience. They look under their seats and there's nothing. So
that was so mean.
Yeah.
That was so messed up.
So she plugs the Go Big show on TNT, and it's 3 celebrities and Cody Rhodes. And then Rebel, she has this annoying laugh, which is obviously fake, but which is so good.
Oh,
yeah. And so Britt's talking about how Cody's involved with Snoop Dogg, he's involved with Shaq, he's involved with Sting. So make one good choice, Cody, unlike the one on your neck, which was tremendous. And they call out Cody, and they have little sparklers. I was like, this is brilliant. This is absolutely brilliant. And then Cody comes out, and he's just kind of like cool with them. He's not pissed off at all the insults and jabs that Britt was throwing at him. And they can't put out the sparklers, so Cody goes off camera to put the sparklers out for them. And so Britt has a huge surprise for Cody, a huge surprise guest. And Jade Cargill is the huge surprise guest. And then the segment died, and this entire show just jumped off the cliff for the next 2 minutes. And she comes out and she says, nobody gives a damn if Brandy is pregnant. I was like, nobody gives a damn if you're on TV. But okay, so she tells Cody that getting her pregnant was like doing her a huge favor because Shaq is pissed off and she's pissed off, and where is her opponent? I have no idea what the hell is going on with this. They're still pushing this Shaq thing, I guess, and like she still wants an opponent. I don't know. And she says that if when Brandy returns, she's gonna beat that ass, and she pushes Cody in the face. And then Red Velvet shows up, and Red Velvet is like half her size. Jade Cargill pushes her. Red Velvet smacks her, and now it's on. They start brawling, and after 2 seconds, the AEW women's locker room teleports in to break it up.
Yeah, like they were all there.
They were all there, like
Yeah.
out of nowhere. So let's cut this right. Let's cut this right here. I want to get your thoughts on this segment up until right here, because although this was one segment, this is really 2 parts. We'll get into that, but what did you think going up to here?
I loved all the bits with the build up to Cody coming out and all the jabs on him. And, he's just keeping a stern face. He's just rolling with the punches. And then, like you said, it fell off. I was so worried that this was going to happen, but it did. They brought out Jade Cargill.
I didn't.
They were still bringing that up.
Yeah, I had no idea they were going to bring out Jade, but after I saw that they did, I was like,
I had a feeling they were still going to do something with the Shaq angle, and the easiest way for them to do that was to use Jade as the conduit for that. Not that I knew. I mean, not that I suspected that she was going to come out, but I was like, I think they're still going to do this Shaq thing somehow, some way. Otherwise, why would he be the first guest? And it had to be her. And I'm like, oh my god, like she just killed the whole segment for me.
So, do you have any explanation on to what the hell is up with Jade Cargill?
I have nothing. I haven't really read about her at all, other than
no. I mean, what's the story here? Like, so she shows up to AEW and she doesn't like Brandy. That's all we know about her, right? Mm-hmm. Is she's somehow affiliated with Shaq, and she does not like Cody and Brandy, but she especially doesn't like Brandy for some reason. And I was like, if I don't like somebody, I am not gonna show up to their company and just start giving them shit. I don't get it.
Like, and you're not kidding when you say their company. I mean, she literally is. Brandy is literally one of the faces of AEW.
I mean, it's pretty much out in the open that Cody is one of the EVPs and Brandy is the chief branding officer.
Chief brand officer.
I mean,
right?
I was like, Jade Cargill, you've been here for all of 5 seconds. I mean, they never even announced. Did they actually hire this girl? Like, what is the deal? I don't like.
I think she is. I think she is hired. I think.
But did they ever announce that? Like, oh yeah, Jade Cargill is all elite or anything like that? Like,
I thought I saw that somewhere. I could be wrong.
But why? Like, what? Why does anybody care about this? And it's nothing against Jade Cargill, but what is the point? Like, she hates Brandy. We don't even know why she hates Brandy.
That would, if they went out of their way, or let me take that back. It's too late now.
Maybe they were
if they explained the reason why
and
she felt that way about Brandy, then it would make more sense, right? It's
yeah.
Like, you don't remember, all those years ago when I was working for you, I was under a different name and you treated me like shit. That would have been perfect, right? Like, okay, I get it.
When we were in high school, you stole my boyfriend, and don't watch out, Cody. She's gonna betray you too, or some shit like that. But just
it would have gone so much further.
Yeah, me and Shaq don't like you guys. Okay, whatever.
And it's funny because I work for you, so yeah. I hope it doesn't cost me my job by attacking you randomly. She broke Brandy's arm, right? Didn't she?
Yeah. So
fire her.
After they're doing the brawl and they start breaking up Red Velvet and Jade Cargill, for some reason we jump to the clip of Thunder Rosa getting beat up by Britt and Rebel, which I'm fine with because I thought
which was a great clip.
Which was a great clip. So yeah, it's just on the big screen and we don't know why it's there, but it is there. And then Thunder Rosa just randomly appears on the big screen and interrupts the video and does her usual half English, half Spanish thing about sooner or later she's going to have to wrestle her. Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker is a huge deal, and we're going to face off February 3rd at Beach Break. And Britt freaks out and she starts talking to Tony Khan. Tony said I don't have to wrestle her. Tony said I don't have to wrestle her. Cut this out, blah, blah, blah. But I'm telling you guys, if they had done this, this would have been the greatest segment in the entire history of pro wrestling. Is if when Thunder Rosa appeared on that big screen and started talking all that crap, if Britt Baker had teleported to her location and started beating her up again, that would have been the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm serious.
Well, it would have gone with the context of everything because none of this had any build. It was just like you said. It was just like they just cut to a random video of Britt attacking Thunder, and then magically they cut to a random video of Thunder telling Britt that she's gonna be wrestling her.
Yeah.
So why not just add onto it with Britt randomly attacking Thunder in that video?
That would have been so good. But so not the best match of the night, but quite possibly my favorite. Like, quite possibly the one that I will go back and watch. Jurassic Express versus FTR, and they delivered on everything I wanted and more. So Jungle Boy's coming out with the new music. I don't know what is the name of the song?
I'm not sure either.
Yeah,
but it's different. I noticed it. Yeah.
It's a very well-known song. If you hear it, I'm not gonna sing it for you and break your eardrums, but if you go and you listen to Jungle Boy's new entrance music, you'll instantly recognize it. And I know that on Twitter, like Tony Khan said he bought the rights as like Jungle Boy's Christmas present or something like that.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Awesome.
So in the beginning, we've got Marco evading FTR with his speed. He's acting like a cocky little shit, sticking the finger to FTR when he's hiding behind Jungle Boy. And then Dax gets him in the corner, and he starts pounding on Marco. And I love it when he pounds him. They do a lifting powerbomb, a lifting slam, picking up FTR does a lifting slam, picking up Marco by his hair. And Jungle Boy in this match is playing the big man. No, it doesn't work. And Jungle Boy does hit a nice Asai moonsault to the outside. They pose in the ring after the dive. Then we come back from break. They replay a double stun gun on Marco. And I was like, oh my god, I should have been watching picture-in-picture. But that was awesome. And then Cash hits the Arn Anderson style Spinebuster, one of the nicest looking moves in all of wrestling history. Marco uses speed though. He gets a tag into Jungle Boy. He runs wild. Gets a backstabber on Dax. Gets a 2. Marco tries sliced bread, and Dax just throws him and hits a clothesline heard round the world onto poor Marco. Marco hits a low blow, does a cutter, and gets a 2. Then Tully, Marco goes outside, but Tully runs Marco into the post. FTR then takes care of Jungle Boy. They throw Marco back in the ring and hit Big Rig on Marco and gets a 3. Perfection. The only thing better would have been if they used the Spike Pile Driver, but the Big Rig is good enough for me.
You took some really detailed notes in that match. I'll give you credit for that.
Yes.
Wow.
Your thoughts on this?
It was everything I wanted and more.
The most, maybe not the match of the night, but the most satisfying match of the night.
It was. I have to say, Marco had it coming, man. It was a real comeuppance. Yeah. I wouldn't do shit to either of those two, Dax or Cash. And I'm not a professional wrestler, so for him to go out of his way to do that, yeah.
I mean, he told Luchasaurus, "Nope, I'm taking your spot. I'm gonna be the badass hero." And well, you got what you knew. Everybody else knew was coming to you. But that's another thing. I was like, why wasn't Luchasaurus at least out there though?
That was kind of odd. I noticed that too.
Maybe they just it didn't just play into the story or something. But they never mentioned something like, like Marco and Jungle Boy told Lucha to stay in the back because they want to do this on their own, or they didn't do anything of the sort. And it's not a big deal, but I just noticed, hey, like, how come Luchasaurus didn't come out with them? I have no
Yeah,
idea.
that was odd.
So then, now we've got the NWA Women's Championship in the women's match of the night. Serena Deeb versus Ty Conti. And Ty is out with Anna Jay in the Dark Order. And this match was okay in some parts. Some parts were really sloppy, where they didn't know what the other one was gonna do. There was one time when Ty hit a kick, and Serena caught her kick, and then they just both fell down for some reason. I don't know why that happened, but some of the moves were cool. The Ty hit a huge brogue kick, that was nice. And then they go back to break, and so they're back from break, and it lasted all of I don't know, less than a minute after the break.
2 minutes,
They were
maybe. Yeah, a minute. Yeah, it was fast.
Reversal. Serena Deeb hits the detox for 3, and Ty says sorry to Anna Jay for not winning the belt, and Anna takes her hand, and that was pretty much it. Anything you want to add about this one?
No, I mean, you pretty much summed it up. It was a lot of the match took place in between the commercials. So
yeah,
it was
I think the commercial was longer than the match itself.
Yeah,
the match before and after.
Yeah, so
I
mean, it was
good.
Fine for what it was.
Yeah, good in some parts, bad in some parts. Overall, nothing really to praise or nothing really to complain about. It was just there, the women's match of the week. The next week, the lineup for next week, we've got the Inner Circle Tag Team Challenge, as mentioned before, and we've got Matt Sydal versus Top Flight versus Matt Hardy and Private Party. That's gonna be spectacular. We've got Hangman Page and the Dark Order teaming up against the Hybrid 2 and Chaos Project. And we're going to get an update on Miro and his new butler, Chuck Taylor. And they already have a picture of Chuck Taylor in a tuxedo, a butler's outfit. It's like, okay, not predetermined at all. They already had a picture of Chuck in a butler's costume.
They work fast.
Yeah. Nyla Rose, who has been off TV for I don't know how long, is going to take on Layla Hirsch. And then we've got Jon Moxley in action. So, not as strong a lineup as these two New Year's bashes, but I don't think it was planned that way anyway. And finally, in our main event of the evening, the match of the night for me, I don't know about you, Brian Cage versus Darby Allin. And Brian Cage comes out, and the announcers note that the FTW title is not recognized by AEW. So this match, you look at the two of them, and you watch them from the weigh-in, and you're just like, Darby Allin has no business being in the ring with Brian Cage. I mean, if this were MMA, there's no sanctioning body.
He would be 3 weight classes below Brian Cage.
Well, way more than that.
Yeah.
But they would there's no commission that would sanction this fight. There's in MMA, in boxing, in kangaroo hopping, anything. Darby Allin does not belong in the ring with Brian Cage. But they do a very spectacular job of making it believable for Darby to win. Because as soon as the bell rings, what does he do? He runs and he drop kicks Brian Cage in the leg. And he does another drop kick to Brian Cage in the leg. To his leg. So Brian Cage has got to go outside of the ring. And Darby does a dive to Brian Cage's back. And then Darby tries another dive. But, and one of the most impressive things I've ever seen, Brian Cage catches him mid-air in a suplex position, and Darby's legs do not drop 1 inch. He just grabs him in a suplex. He catches him in a suplex position. Full speed, diving through the ropes. And Darby does not fall 1 inch. He's just caught midair, and he's just stuck there, suspended, and Brian Cage just tosses him over. I was like, holy shit.
That's the words that came out of my mouth. I was floored.
Yeah. And then Brian Cage hits a short arm clothesline. That was awesome. He does a gorilla press throw. Not a gorilla press slam, a gorilla press throw from the ring through the announce table on the outside, which is at least 6 feet, if not more. It's like, I don't care how. I mean, Brian Cage is a freak because even though Darby's a light guy, he's still a human being, and to throw a guy from a gorilla, a gorilla press position, and just throw him 6 feet in the air through a table, that's impressive. Brian Cage, like, holy crap, this guy needs
He's a
to.
monster.
Yeah, I would not mess with that guy for any amount of money. Anyway, I mean, like he seems like he's his demeanor though. It seems like he's like a super nice guy in real life.
A lot of things I've read and seen about him are he's actually a pretty cool dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, AEW can't do a title match without blood. The Darby is busted open. Cage does picks him up and in a suspended suplex position walks from the ringside up the stairs up to the ramp and then throws Darby back into the ring. Cage is tossing him around like it's nothing. He's doing ground and pound over his head. And in the line of the night, I don't know if I forget who it was. It was I think it was JR. It was JR, Shivani, or Excalibur, but one of them said, Darby's been dealing with bullies his entire life. And Taz says, yeah, he's been getting his ass kicked by bullies his entire life. So we've got a bunch of big power moves by Cage. The story is that Darby is kicking out at 1. We've got multiple power bombs by Cage. Darby gives him the finger. He does a power bomb onto the stage. Darby gives him the finger. Darby kicks out at 1. Then Cage sets up the stairs, and Darby reverses and bites his hand. And this makes Cage fall from the apron and lands on the stairs. And Darby hits a coffin drop from the top onto Brian Cage while he's lying on the steps. And it's like, oh my God, that's crazy. Darby bites Cage. He uses the belt for a stunner. He ties up his Brian Cage's legs with the belt, and he hits some ground and pound. Then he hits the code red for 2. He hits a shotgun drop kick, and Cage pushes him up, so Darby hits a double stomp. And Darby is setting up for the coffin drop, but Hook distracts the ref, and Starks gets in there. He knocks Darby off the turnbuckle, and the lights go off. And the lights instantly come back on. Sting teleports in. A lot of teleportation in this AEW Dynamite tonight. But he teleports in. He taps Ricky Starks on the back, which was the greatest, nice little touch of all. He just taps Ricky Starks on the back. Ricky turns around. He eats the bat. He takes a couple shots from the back. Ricky Starks goes down. Darby hits a crucifix bomb on Brian Cage for the 3. Darby retains the TNT Championship. This was a tremendous match. It was very good. And before we get into the aftermatch, your thoughts on this?
This is an awesome match. AEW does a good job. And don't get me wrong, it's the players too. Brian Cage and Darby Allin, everyone involved. Taz, the announcers, Starks, Sting. But AEW does a really good job of making these matches believable. Like you said, Darby had a shot. Like he immediately started attacking Brian Cage. He immediately, went after the weak points, his legs. I'd assume a big guy like that, right, has carrying a lot of weight. They did a good job of keeping the match going, even though, Brian Cage eventually got the upper hand and really started dominating Darby. It wasn't a complete work like, this is going to be a complete fucking squash, right? It was great. It was awesome. Both guys just put their heart and soul into it. And man, I don't know. Like, I love Darby Allin, but I hope he can wrestle at this level for a long time because he took some crazy shots. He's thrown through the announcer's table from the ring. I've never seen that.
Yeah.
And he got power bombed onto the ramp, like straight up, like just
more than one time.
Yeah, and it wasn't just like from the ramp. How to explain it? It wasn't like he got power bombed in a stationary position. Brian Cage threw him from the ring.
Yeah.
Power bomb onto the ramp. So there was more momentum. I was like, oh my, how's he not dead? Like that would have collapsed somebody's back. His spine would have been completely destroyed,
Yeah.
Great match, though. Great match.
Excellent match. And after the match, there wasn't really actually much to it. It was just a stalemate. The Team Taz is on the entranceway looking into the ring, and Sting. Darby's holding the title. Sting is staring down Team Taz. He makes it snow on them, and that's the end of AEW Dynamite. Anything else you want to add about this part?
No, that's a very interesting.
I don't
very
know
interesting superpower that Sting
I
has
don't know
to make snow.
when Sting became like an ice character, but it's cool.
I guess it goes back to because his first appearance was the Winter is Coming, right?
Yeah.
You know, but I get it when that happened on that specific Dynamite, but now it's always going to snow when he comes, I guess. Okay, whatever. I will say one thing.
Okay.
I really hope they do something with Sting soon.
He did enough today.
He's getting a little old, man. He's just gonna keep coming in.
He showed his cards. He's helping Darby Allin.
But he has been helping Darby Allin.
He's been helping Cody more.
They've been no, he helped Darby Allin.
But anyway,
without Cody as well.
I can't wait, because at the end, when Sting did help Darby and everything, I can't help but wonder, what does Team Taz think about this? And hopefully we'll get the answer next week.
Next week, huh? Yeah.
So is that going to be it for us tonight?
I think so.
Okay. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. And we will see you next week for some more AEW action.
Yep. Peace out, guys. Thanks for tuning in.